back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Mario Idol, and we're going to talk about the Super Mario Brothers movie. And don't worry, this is going to be spoiler-free because, let's be honest, there isn't really a lot of spoilers to this Mario movie. The story is rather simplistic. It's Save the Princess, only in this case, the princess is Luigi, because as we all know, as the media has told us, Peach is not going to be saved. She's more of the partner on this adventure, which I think is a-okay. But yeah, we're going to talk about the Super Mario Bros. Film. I'm going to give you my thoughts. I'm going to talk about the acting, the setting, everything that you guys would like to know about. So, let's go! Normally I script all my reviews, but really, I don't think there's a reason to script this one. I'm going to go in off the cuff. I just got back from the movie, probably about an hour or so ago. And, yeah, it's pretty much exactly what you'd expect if you're a fan of Mario. I mean, at the end of the day, Mario has never really been a storytelling powerhouse. That's not what Mario has ever been about. Like, yeah, certain games have small elements of story. Super Mario Sunshine has some story. Mario Galaxy has some story. Mario Odyssey has some story. But as a general rule, it's very bare bones and basic, because what entices you to Mario is the visuals and, more than anything, the gameplay. Mario has a very distinct looking world, and this film absolutely captures it. The Mushroom Kingdom looks like the Mushroom Kingdom. Bowser's Lair looks like what you would think Bowser's Lair would look like, you know, from the video games, but all done in this brilliant, modern illumination style. Sonic the Hedgehog, I'm a huge fan of the live-action Sonic movies. I think that for what they are, they actually do an incredible job. That being said, when it comes to the world, they're in the real world. They're in the human world, and while in Sonic 2 and a little bit in the first Sonic, we do see Sonic's world, it's in much small doses compared to the real world. This movie is set almost entirely in the fictionalized world of the Mushroom Kingdom and the surrounding areas, and you can absolutely tell there are Easter eggs all over the film, even for worlds they don't go to or levels they don't go to. You know they exist. I'm not going to spoil what any of those are. I want you guys to see if you can, pick them out, see them, and catch them in the film. But even the worlds they don't go to, you're gonna see some visual references or hints or nods to. Maybe they'll be explored in sequels. Maybe they were only Easter eggs. But you know what? It was a fantastic treat, a feast for the eyes. I don't think that visually we thought we would have anything to worry about after that first trailer. Once we saw that first Mario trailer, we realized we were in the clear. Obviously, what's got a lot of people since the dawn of this was the casting. You know, Chris Pratt as Mario it upset a lot of folk. Now, not me, not your boy Leon. I had no issues with Chris Pratt from the jump. You know why? Because as much as I love Charles Martinet, I mean, I've met the guy. He has signed my Super Smash Bros. GameCube. I love him. He is in the movie, by the way. Got a couple of cameos I caught, so he's at least 2 different characters. But, yeah, Mario always had kind of an Italian Brooklyn guy voice. If you go back to the 80s, to the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, well before Martinet took over. And Chris Pratt's rendition of Mario is very, very reminiscent of that classic 80s Mario voice. A voice that I grew up on because I was watching the show years before Charles Martinet came on the scene giving Mario a voice. So I think it actually worked brilliantly, and there are a few small moments here and there where Chris Pratt does in fact do a Martinet impression to kind of add, and it works. It works brilliantly. So all you guys owe Chris Pratt an apology. He absolutely killed it. The same can be said for almost everyone. Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach was fantastic. Peach is not ditzy, okay? Peach in the games, yes, she has a history of being kind of ditzy and cutesy. That's not who she is in this. Well, she is kind of cutesy, actually, but she's absolutely not ditzy. But you know what? That works for me. I like seeing this strong female version of Peach, because Peach is a fighter. She's been a fighter in Smash Bros. She's been a fighter in Super Mario Bros. 2. In her own game, Super Princess Peach, we've seen her be part of the action. So seeing this version of Peach is great. There was a lot of people concerned, calling it, oh, well, she's a Mary Sue, this, that, and the other. I had those concerns based on the trailers, because we've all seen modern Hollywood. Peach is not Rey Palpatine, guys. Peach was never Rey Palpatine in this film, because while she is an integral powerhouse, while she does kick butt, while she's got several scenes dedicated to how awesome she is, it is very, very well explained in the film, but the fact that she grew up in the Mushroom Kingdom. This is where she's from. These are her people, so she knows what she's doing. That's good enough. You know, when you have a strong female character with no weaknesses, yeah, that's a problem. That is one of those things that people would call woke or whatnot, and I agree that that is bad writing. Rey Palpatine is a poorly written character. Peach is justified in her girl bossness. I don't know if I'd call her a girl boss or not, but honestly, yeah, kind of. and it does work. I quite enjoyed seeing Peach. Charlie Day as Luigi, awesome. Anyone is the closest to their video game counterpart voice-wise, it is Charlie Day as Luigi. I don't want to... I mean, we've all heard a little bits of him in the trailer and whatnot, and he sounds like that throughout the whole film. It is great. Luigi's role in the film is not just that of a damsel in distress, because at the end of the day, it is a family movie. It is called the Super Mario Brothers, not Mario the movie. And Mario and Luigi's interactions and relationship as brothers is a key element of this film. It's actually something the film has done better than any Mario game, named Super Mario Bros. How do you like that? A movie based on a video game that does something better than the source material and actually giving a genuinely brotherly relationship to Mario and Luigi. I'll tell you, it was spectacular. Bowser, I mean, what can you say about Jack Black as Bowser that hadn't already been said even before the movie came out? It was fantastic. Everyone talks about how Jim Carrey stole the show as Dr. Robotnik. Now, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say Jack Black stole the show, but man, did he have a lot of great lines, had a lot of great scenes, and if you know it's Jack Black, then yes, of course, you're gonna hear Jack Black now and again, but you can absolutely tell he's not just being Jack Black. He's not just doing his Jack Black shtick. This is Bowser, and Bowser's motivations in the movie are exactly what they are in the games. Obviously, if you know what those are, then you're probably going to have an idea going in. If you don't, I'm not going to tell you what Bowser's motivations are. Just know they're character accurate. But how Jack Black is not doing his Jack Black shtick, Seth Rogen is. He is the worst part of them. In fact, I would say the only negative thing about this movie is Seth Rogen. He is not even trying as Donkey Kong, he just sounds like Seth Rogen. Maybe the only thing that makes it a little better than generic Seth Rogen is he doesn't sound high. At least he doesn't sound high. I fully expected, if it wasn't Nintendo, if Nintendo weren't so proud of their IPs and so guarding of their properties, I would entirely have expected a scene where you see Donkey Kong trying to smoke a banana or something because it's Seth freaking Rogen. But no, I'm happy to say that doesn't happen. I mean, Seth Rogen is still terrible in the role, don't get me wrong, he is objectively the worst part of the film, but everyone else does great. Keegan-Michael Key as Toad sounds very similar to Charlie Day in that, you know, if anyone sounds like their video game counterpart. Once again, Keegan-Michael Key as Toad. He does the Toad voice effectively the whole film, with little variations here and there, and he does it to great effectiveness. So I don't think going in you're gonna have any issue with the casting, especially the Chris Pratt stuff, which again, you all owe that man an apology. He nailed it. Now, I've seen a lot of reviewers talk about how there's next to no story, how the story is very thin, and yes, that's true, but I would not actually count that as a negative. I really liked this bare bones, back to basics, type of storytelling. This movie sets up the threat, sets up the conflict, and then from there, it's just stop the conflict. That's really what we get up until, 2/3 of the way through the movie, and then you have the climax near the end. That's it. Threat is established. Here's the quest to stop the threat. That is a story. This movie very discernibly has a beginning, middle, and end. That is what a story takes: beginning, middle, end. This movie has that. So while the plot isn't complicated, while it's incredibly thin, that is a good thing. It is very effective, especially when you're adapting Mario, when you're adapting something that's already known for not necessarily having a story. I won't lie, I don't think the movie even needed to try this hard, but it did, and I, as the viewer and as a fan, clearly, of Super Mario, absolutely enjoyed seeing what happened here, seeing this movie play out, seeing these turns of events. So, with that being said, the story, don't take the critics stating that the story is thin as a negative. Now, I will say, someone that I respect did make a very good point that they can't do that again. You can't expect to make a sequel and still have it this bare bones. I would agree with that. I feel like this was a very nice way to test the waters of the story, keep it simple, keep it down to basics. But if you're going to do a sequel to this, which, I mean, we've all seen the box office numbers, they're gonna do a sequel to this. It does need to up the ante a bit, not just the visuals, the action scenes, the whole nine, but with the storytelling as well. Because while it did work to have a very simple 3-act structure for this, beginning, middle, end, I don't want to see something this simple again. And once again, I'd say that we can look to the Sonic the Hedgehog films. I think there's actually a lot of very good comparisons you can make to the Sonic the Hedgehog films with this movie. And it absolutely upped the ante, both in terms of character development, source material references, respect for said source material, not just little Easter eggs and references, but also up to the story value. And I think that Mario 2, a sequel, will have to do this. But as it currently stands here, it's fine. I don't think anyone's going to have any issues. I really don't. The thing is, this film is made by fans. We've all seen the horrible Grace Randolph review. I mean, let's be honest. It's been all over the internet. We touched on it a little bit on the podcast yesterday if you saw it. Yeah, that Grace Randolph review is terrible. But this movie is for fans. It was made by fans for fans. And you know what? Look at the numbers it's doing. Look at the fact that this movie is killing it at the box office. That goes to show that when you stick to the source material, it's going to get good results. If you're not a Mario fan, if you don't know anything about Mario, you're probably going to be a bit confused about the world. At least that's what all the reviewers and critics have been saying. I heavily disagree. If you're confused about this world, even if you don't have any sort of knowledge of Mario, you're just a moron. I'm sorry, you're dumb. Are the rules of this world strange and out there? Yeah, but it's a video game movie. If you can't wrap your head around some of the concepts that they do briefly cover, I'm sorry, that's your own fault, and I apologize that you only got 2 brain cells left. I went to see this movie with 2 people. One of them has only ever played 1 Mario game in their entire lives, and let me tell you, they caught on just fine. There was absolutely no confusion as to any of the power-ups or powers or any of the way the story worked. Literally none of it. She was able to see it all the way through, nary an issue. And once again, no experience with Mario outside of 1 single Mario game. If you have trouble following this, even if you're not a fan of the source material, you're a few fire flowers short of a garden. I don't really know if there's any way to fully discuss this movie. I mean, look, we're getting like, what, a 10-ish minute review out of this, and this is all just off the cuff. At the end of the day, I would say, how do you rate this movie? How do you rank it? Well, as a Mario movie, as something that represents the source material, 9 out of 10. Absolute 9 out of 10. Seth Rogen destroys, giving it a perfect 10. How do I rate it as a movie in general, taking the knowledge of Mario and everything out of it? It's a very competently made film that knows what it's doing, accomplishes what it sets out to do, albeit, does have some moments that are not going to work if you don't know the source material, that you probably have to think a bit too much on. It is still a children's film, so we're going to call it a 7 out of 10 in that regards. So as a film that stands on its own merits, it's a 7. As a Mario film, it's a 9. You put those together, you got an 8. This film, I will rate an 8 out of 10. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or you can let me know on Twitter, where you can find me at BoltTheWord. And please do subscribe to the channel. We're getting so close to the 1,000 mark. I mean, we're over 730. Thank you so much. I couldn't have gotten this far without you. I appreciate every view, every watch, every subscribe. Let's get to that 1,000 mark. Thanks again. And I am a nerdy news channel. I do nerdy news every day. I do like to throw the occasional review in there, but as it generally stands, I like to cover the news. What's going on in Star Wars, Magic the Gathering, Dungeons & Dragons, you name it. It's all here in the Nerdosphere, and this has been Words of Paradise.